Well, first of all, oh, we got some more people to admit. A warm welcome to you all. We're genuinely so pleased to have you on board because this is a very special meetup for the Women Who Mule group. Sorry, I'm just going to be admitting a few more people through. And this is really, as some of you may know, the first time that the Emea team is hosting this session. So what do we actually have in store today? So let's have a look at the agenda. So we'll start by introducing the Emea team, so you can get to know your host a little bit better. And then I'll delve into deeper, what makes the MuleSoft community so special, especially in Emea. And then we go on to our headliner, where we'll hear from Laura and David from Accenture Spain, who will share their experiences and viewpoints all around Center for Enablement and the importance of empathy in that. So, and then to wrap up the session, what we'll do is an opportunity for you to share any feedback, and also, let us know what you would like to see in the future, what kind of content or topics, and really have an opportunity to shape how this community will grow. In terms of timings, today we want to keep it short and sweet, so aiming for about an hour or so. The beginning bit will take, let's say, 10 to 15 minutes, and then for the, let me admit some more people as well. And then the headliner essentially will be 35, 45, depending how much questions you get from the audience as well. And of course, if people want to continue the discussion, we can stay and do that as well, as there's plenty of time. In case you're wondering, why do I have Astro in a unicorn outfit on the slide here? That's really just to call out that we're supporting our LGBT plus community here at Salesforce and MuleSoft. The reason why we celebrate it in June is to honor the 1969 Stonewall Uprising in Manhattan. So June's a very special month, and I think what a better way to show our allyship than a call like this today. So let's meet the team, if I can go back to my slides. So what I'll ask from each team member is just to give a brief introduction, maybe share how you started in the wonderful world of integration of MuleSoft, and maybe one interesting or unusual fact as well. Over to you, Emily.
Thank you, Therese. And first of all, I'd really like to start with a thank you to all of you who's joined us today. This is exciting. As we said, it's the first Emea Women Who Mule event, and we're hoping to have a lot more of these going forward. And a big thank you to Therese for actually taking ownership and doing all the hard work of getting this organized and formalized. So thanks a lot for being here, and thanks a lot, Therese, for doing this. So in terms of introduction, my name is Emily Patra. I head the customer success strategy and architecture team in Emea for MuleSoft. I've been with MuleSoft for over 2.5 years, but I've been with Salesforce since 2015, so almost coming up to 6 years now. And when Salesforce acquired MuleSoft, I moved over to this side, the interesting side, clearly, and was tasked with building this team in Emea. So it was a very, very interesting 2.5 years, and we've got an amazing team in Therese as part of that team, and it's absolutely wonderful to see how the ecosystem is growing and how we're making an impact. A little bit about me: I have an enterprise architecture career spanning about 20 years now. Before this, I've worked with, service-oriented architecture. So as some of you might remember, was with Oracle and on the Oracle ecosystem before I came into Salesforce, and then, of course, MuleSoft. Interesting fact about me: I'm actually a certified technical architect, CTA, for those of you who know how the Salesforce certification pyramid works. So one of maybe about 10 women or 12 women in the world who've ever passed CTA globally. So yeah, just an interesting fact. Okay, next is Alva here.
I am indeed. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yep.
hello.
All good. Thank you so much for having me. So yes, I'm our Alliance Director for Capgemini and Accenture, and I'm terribly sorry to say that I've been at MuleSoft for 8 years. So I've seen all of our mistakes, and I'm very sorry to any of you who've lived them. But certainly, it's a pleasure to be here today and to introduce the Women Who Mule event. I will just quickly say that I am not a certified technical architect of any kind, and I'm fairly sure I am the least technical person here. But I will look very engaged with everything that you show me. And certainly, I'm here partly because of Capgemini, Accenture being two of our larger partners in Europe. But I'm also here because I'm very passionate about us making sure that we build the profile of women who do mule in the Emea community and continue to really make some of that a feeling. So thank you so much to Laura and David for joining us today to start some of that conversation. But hopefully this won't be the first one or the last. So certainly let's hope that it keeps going. Thank you both.
Any unusual or interesting fact about yourself?
Oh dear, sorry Perez, I did forget that one. I am a very gifted baker. So my babka is pretty good. I'm not going to lie. I make a very good loaf of chocolate babka. So the next time any of you are in London, I am open to being requested for, baked goods. It's a strong suit of mine.
Oh,
I'll book my London trip in soon. Yeah, exactly, Therese. We need to book dates now.
Wonderful. And I haven't actually introduced myself yet. So my name is Perez Gale. I am a senior technical consultant here at MuleSoft. I only joined MuleSoft in February, but been a muley for far, far longer. So started my career at Deloitte about 4 years ago, where I also co-founded an initiative called Codename Maxine, which is all aimed around increasing diversity in the wider MuleSoft ecosystem. And we actually have some of the owners and members, leaders from that group right now on the call. So thank you so much, first of all, for taking the time and joining. So yeah, that's a introduction to the Emea team. And let me just add a few more people in as well. And oh, I almost forgot my interesting fact. So I am actually dog sitting this week. So if at some point I need to go on mute and throw another bone to make sure I can bribe a little bit more peace and quiet, yeah, please excuse me in advance. So with that, let's take a look at closer look at the wider ecosystem community. But before we focus on the Emea aspect, what I want to do is just reflect on the global community as a whole. So there's really no denying how much the global community in the past few years has really blossomed, grown, and matured as well. But first, let's take a look at meetups. So when I first started my journey into MuleSoft, there were two meetup groups in London, which is where I was based. One was via the official MuleSoft channel, like the Meetup platform, and there was another non-official one. And early on, I got stuck in, so I was either going as a participant, sometimes had the great opportunity to also present and get stuck in as well. But often you'll get the hosts talking about how, oh, even just 6 months ago or 9 months ago, 12 months ago, when we first launched this, we only had 6 or 7 people turn up. And in some of the meetups I was going to, there were already 40, 50 people. And the biggest one I went to, there were over 100. So I know now we've been, isolated and whatnot. It's hard to imagine like such big meetups, but that's what it was. And you could really see the momentum and the community really growing. So today, if we look at it, it's so impressive to see that there are over 100 different groups globally spreading across 30 different countries. I want you to remember the 30 number over across 30 different countries, and you'll see why in a minute. And also, as the community has blossomed and matured, there's been a whole host of different programs, initiatives that have also been launched. So for example, we have our mentors and ambassadors, which recognize the great work that very talented people in the community, contribute, be it content, be it leadership, be it contributing to the various different platforms and whatnot, be it to inspire the next generation of muleys. So it's really great to see. And the last thing I wanted just to highlight on is just the content that's out there now. So I remember, again, coming back to right at the beginning, Mule 4 had just come out and there wasn't that much content out there to help you, answer those niggly questions or get to the bottom of things. But now, from Meetups, the documentation has matured so much. The one lens I've put on here is just through the help center, just the sheer number of participants, the answers, it's really, really impressive. So I just wanted to level set, have a little look at the global view. So now let's look at Emea. I was quite curious to see actually what is the difference. So I started digging a bit deeper. So I was like, okay, so how many Meetup groups do we actually have across this region, and in which countries are they based? So as an example, when I've talked about those London meetups, in space of 1 or 2 years, there were also other meetups springing in Bristol, Manchester. So there's a few more others being launched across the UK. So I was really interested. It's like, oh, but what about the rest of EMEA? And I was completely blown away. Just the sheer number of countries that are participating, and we have meetups there. It's so phenomenal to see. Just to call out a few, Switzerland, Portugal, UK, Spain, Italy, even some of the smaller ones like Macedonia, Luxembourg. It's just so good to see the diversity here already. And that number I told you to keep in mind, it said across, so far globally, it's across 30 different countries, these meetups. Well, EMEA, 19 of those countries are here, and I think that already speaks volume in what a unique position we are, and really means that we can define it how we see best and, take full advantage of that. And this is kind of like looking at the top bit. This is just the official Meetup MuleSoft groups. There are loads of non-official ones. There are groups that are usually internal to, so for example, Deloitte, there was an internal MuleSoft group. There's similar groups at some of our customers. So this is you can see how the numbers start snowballing, and the community, you can see how big it really is. And then if we look at the actual ecosystem, I was curious. I was like, okay, I want to know what some of our customers are here in EMEA, and how many partners do we have? And as I started looking at the data, I was really, excited just to see some of these big names that are MuleSoft customers, and they're heavily involved in the wider ecosystem. They share their customer stories, they participate in meetups as well. And then also all of our incredibly helpful and talented partners that in the ecosystem as well. And these numbers, they seem almost hard to fully appreciate, but once you start looking at all the subsidiaries, small partners, boutique consultancies, this is what you get. And I think it just shows, it's a true reflection of how rich and diverse the ecosystem here in EMEA is. So that's enough about ecosystem community from my perspective. I hope you're excited and feel incredibly happy to be part of such a fantastic community. So next, I would like to hand over to Emily, who will be the moderator for our fireside chats, and yeah, we could go from there.
Thank you, Therese. Wow, I'm blown away looking at those numbers. I actually did not dig that deep, and that is fantastic. We've got such fantastic momentum in EMEA. We've got so much outreach. I think let's just continue the good work and grow our community even further. So I am very happy today to welcome two of our special guests here, Laura and David, who are both from Accenture Spain. And we invited them because of their special and unique experience with, with MuleSoft, with the programs. We thought they have an incredible story to share. We are going to focus on what is the role of empathy and building out C4E, but I think this is so much more than just how to build a C4E. It's about really bringing in the experience that Laura and David have had in their careers and sharing with us so that we can take away some tips and trips from it, and look at different perspectives of how we can make our own programs successful. So first of all, Laura and David, thank you for being here. Would you like to take a few minutes to just introduce yourself first, and then we will, start with our fireside chat. So maybe Laura, you go first.
Yeah, sure. And let me say first that thanks to you to let us to be here. Okay, I think that it's my first time in a meetup. Sure that you will detect that, but okay, I will try to do my best and answer all the questions that the community could have. Okay. Then to present myself, I have to say that I have 23 years of experience in Accenture, and I have been working practically 20 years in API and integration platforms. Then I have a long history in this world and a lot of experience that I am using in my day-to-day. Then I think that when I know a new person, for example, that is starting to work with integrations, sometimes I think that I am as a grandmother or something as that has to come all about the battles that I have lived. But I think that is the way to give this experience to the new joiners in this world, and I think that is very useful. Then I will try to provide my point of view in this meetup. Then David, your time.
Thank you very much, David.
Hello, glad to be with you here. I have to correct one thing that Laura mentioned, because I think that we were in a meetup in a session that it was organized in London in past year or a couple of years ago, when we were there into the conferences of MuleSoft Connect, I think. And we were one afternoon in the meetup in London.
Yeah, that is true, but we didn't talk. Just...
Yeah, that's true. That's right. Yeah. So about myself, I am about 13 years of experience in integration. I have been always working in Accenture in the integration layers. So I have been working not only with MuleSoft, but also with some other integrators. I have experience in web methods, for example, in Oracle, in SAP technologies, but always related with integration. And later on, like 4 years ago, I joined the projects regarding MuleSoft, and I've been working first with the ESB of MuleSoft, with the free of license version, and later on with the API manager. So I'm experiencing not only in API management, but also in the ESB part and also in the integration layers regarding some lots of clients.
That's fantastic. Thank you. So I'm going to ask my first obvious question, and Laura, to you first. How did you end up in the world of integration?
Then that said, if I have been 23 years in Accenture, I have been 20 years in integration. Then how I started? It's a good question. It was a change. I was initially I was part of the ABAP world. I was an ABAP programmer. Okay, and then after 3 years in Accenture, I meet with one that will be one of my senior managers, the person that was transforming things, I think, in Accenture, the way of work. And he said to me, okay, I need one person that let me prepare for a long program that we will do a transformation of a customer doing a lot of integrations worldwide. And I need someone that prepare and do a detailed analysis of how we will have to integrate. It means which are the systems that we are going to find, which are the standards for the integrations in these systems, and we want to prepare a long list of assets that later, after 3 months of preparation, when we will start with the first rollout, we could use. We could provide to the projects that will be in this rollout, in this country rollouts, to ensure that everybody will work with the same key lines and to ensure that everybody will follow our standards and to get our integration the most easy possible. And I have to say that it was my first time in integration and really was a very good starting point. because at that moment we started with one integration platform that was named Mercato. I think that maybe no one of here know what is Mercato, but no matter, it's not matter if it is Mercato, it is SAP PO, it is Tico, it is Oracle, it is iWay or MuleSoft. Okay, I have been in a lot of platforms during this year, but that we started at that moment was the first piece of all, because we said that we are not going just to do integrations, we are not going just to take requirements and to build things. We are going to be ready to start the things doing in a different way. Okay, and I have to say that we were 4 years working in this customer, doing rollouts to all the world, in Europe first, then we go to USA, Asia, Africa, and always really incredible. We learn a lot, but we can say that all that we did the 3 months, the first 3 months, we were applying. Okay, and I have been using that experience, and I have been as a part of my life, and I am trying to provide this to the people that is joining in my team. It means I want that they know that the preparation, the not to be only in the build, okay, to be in the preparation of assets or to let things done. Yeah, no, you don't have to do the things, but you are part of the things. If at the end you are indicating how they have to be done, then I think that it was a very good experience for me. Then after that, as David can say, I was working with multiple projects, multiple platforms, but always with this initial soul, okay? It's this initial of, we will set up a way of working that has been changing, okay? But we will set up this and we will do our work based in this.
So Laura, what you're saying is, it's what I took away from there. It's not just about the implementation of the integration, isn't it? There's so much work that goes around the design, the documentation, the planning, you know, everything around it is important. So it is a program of work, and you have to treat it like a charter rather than just think about implementation as a technical component of a project, right? And that is really interesting to hear, because that part only comes from experience, which, you know, we clearly have loads of. Right. So David, how did you end up in the world of integration?
Yeah, I think I'm a really lucky person in the world of the consulting, just because not only joining the big consulting enterprise, but joining in a position where I can do whatever almost I want. Because when I reached the company, I was not thinking about joining something related with integration. I was never experienced in something related, but I was lucky because I just reached a team of integration, and this is the best thing that it can happen to me, because I really love the way of working in this area. Just because we are in touch not only with a program, with a language for building integration, but with all the ecosystem. So we are part of the whole solution. We can be experienced not only in the integration, but also in the backend, but also in the front ends, also in the standards, also in the way of working. So we are an important part, the key point of all the ecosystems, of all the integrations. And some people think that this is not a good position, this is not a good work. We were discussing with Laura previously, just before this meeting, that everything is because of us. So when everything is failing, it's just because of us. But when everything is going fine, it seems like, okay, it's usual. Everything is working fine, so it's okay. But for me, I can see from a different perspective. I can see that we can help everyone. We can improve in our knowledge in every area, not only in the integration, but helping and supporting all the teams. And this is very satisfying for us. So from a point of view of development, of the personal development, I think that when I joined Accenture in this position, I was lucky. I was started to work and growing into the integration, knowing every single year I was spending in the company with more knowledge, specific and non-specific, because of the technologies. And when we reached the team with Laura, it's more than 10 years ago at this moment. I think that we continue in the path into the into the same objective. At the end, what we are trying is not to think in one single integration team thinking only in the integration part, but also in creating big ecosystems with everyone involved and trying to go ahead with the integration part to try to develop new features for every single client is reaching us for new projects. This is more or less my story.
Interesting points you bring up there. And one key point that really stuck with me, what you said was, a lot of people have this misconception that integration is a project you think about at the end. But whereas if you look at how transformations and how big programs and digital transformations, are happening today at the speed that they're happening, integration is actually at the heart of it. If you don't think about your integration strategy, if you don't think about how you're going to bring all of those applications in your enterprise together and make something meaningful out of it, it will just not work. And that's exactly what you said, that you have the big picture, you're thinking front and back and business process, and it's just not this little technical thing that's on the side. It's actually at the center of the whole digital transformation story, which is amazing to hear, from your experience. So thank you for sharing that. So David, how have you seen organizational enablement change over the past years, as technology has evolved? So obviously you've got a lot of experience, and we've gone through a number of integration eras, let's say, SOA, then microservices, APIs, API-led. How have you seen the change, and how have you seen the evolution happen?
Take into account that when we first started to create integration layers, it started with an point-to-point or one-to-one integration. So we were always integrating not services, not functionalities, but only services that someone were requesting with no final idea. I need to move this file from here to here, and this is the only thing that I need. Please do not think in the business level. Do not think in increase the platform power or capabilities or whatever. Only thinking, I need to move this to this. Why do you need to move this file to this file? I don't know. I only need to move this file. Just please forget about that. Okay, so this is the very beginning when we started, and later on we begin to go more empowered into the platform. We started to think in services. We started to make some promotion, to instruct everyone in the ecosystem that, hey guys, this is not the way of working. We are creating a spaghetti layer. We are doing integration, moving files. This is not the way of working. We need to organize the services. We need to go with the services in terms of reusing. We need to reuse something. We need to involve everyone to try to reuse. But I think that some of the key points started to move ahead when we really discovered the way of working with APIs and also with microservices, just because everyone is now able to understand, okay, I have not a service, I have a microservice, I have a single point of integration I want to expose to the whole world. So I can just forget about the spaghetti, I can just forget about the full business process from the end to end, but I can go into one single service that I want to expose, and okay, guys, you are free to consume, to use this service or not. Do whatever you want with this service, but I have this service and I want to expose this service. And this is a big step that we made from the SOA, from the SOA implementation, when we first developed the services, into just currently when we are building APIs and when we are delivering microservices. So from the very beginning, we started with services that are not linked to everything or nothing at the end. So they are the couple services, but with no intention. At the end, they are services that were requested. And now when we are thinking in a platform, we are thinking from the point of view of integration, we need these kind of services, and we are providing these services to be reused, but not for a business purpose like at the beginning, but with lots of reusability and not fit into any business concrete specification or logic.
Thank you, David. So Laura, based on the evolution of technology that David's talking about and our move towards the composable enterprise reusability is the key. So exposing, APIs and services so that we can reuse and every part of the business can consume it and compose their own service. In this context, what is a center for enablement? How would you define a center for enablement, and how is it different from usually what we hear, a center of excellence, that which has been pretty much the trend in the last 15 years. We've all been talking about a COE, but C4E is more recent, and MuleSoft, I think, was the forerunner with this. How would you differentiate between the two?
Yes, first of all, to say that the change that David was commenting is not only a technology change, it's to a business change. Okay, I am fortunate because from the beginning I have seen always the end-to-end, means which is the business behind the integrations. Not only that I am moving files, I was fortunate for that because I was understanding that I was moving, I don't know, for example, in logistics, that I was moving notifications to the logistic operator because the trucks needs to leave. And they need to know in which area of the factory they will have to go to load the goods. Then I was always talking from business point of view, and I think that one of the points that I am adding to my integration teams is that they understand the business, they understand end-to-end too, not just the moving of files. Is one of the points that has changed, and now it's initially when we talk about reusability of this, we say, okay, how I can do the integration that will be more reusable, and we say, okay, I will put all the information that I can in one message, one very big message, then ensure that in the future, if they want something else, it will be there. Okay, then if I want to send information about my sales order, I will add thousands of information of the sales order at all the levels of detail, no? And it is a very big message with a lot of information, because sure that in this way I don't have to touch the integration. I don't have, because they will have all. Then the receiver will decide what they will use, and it has been one of the changes too. Now, from business perspective, we have to think that we cannot send all, because it is spending resources of the system. Then we will send partially. Okay. Then how it is in the COE and in the C4E, how it is there? Initially, they are not excluded. Okay, it means you can have a C4E and a COE. Okay, that you will go to C4E doesn't mean that you cannot have a COE. Okay, then initially you think that the COE will do all. Okay, you will set up the assets, you will set up the architecture, you will set up the building, you will do all. All is in your hands. You have the responsibility for the delivery of all the projects of the system. You decide how it will be delivered. Okay. Now with the C4E, separately to the COE, that you are getting is, okay, I am responsible of what I will provide to the projects. Okay, about the solutions that they have to use, about the assets, about automations, about I don't know, any tool that they would like to use, but not about the implementation. Then I maybe will contact with the COE to get the resources, to provide these resources for the projects if the customer has one COE, or if not, I will have to the projects to ensure that they will have the correct team. But I am not responsible of the team as a C4E. Okay, and I think that it is the main difference between the two, but doesn't mean that you cannot have the two. I think that in a lot of customers we have the two things, but it's very important that you clearly separate one team from the other, okay? Because you have to ensure that you will have people dedicated to the C4E. Sometimes you can do it to the overload. Maybe one of the typical errors is that you are using the people for C4E for the delivery and adding them in the COE too, okay? then you are losing then your capacity to listen, your capacity to understand the new behavior that the customer can have, to be ready for that, because it's changing continuously. You know, it's continuously the customers are thinking in new applications. Then they say to you, I am going to start a new project. For example, I received it very recently, a new project with a Barclay application. I say, what? What is that? What is a Barclay? What it is? Which is the type of integration that this application have? It is cloud? It's not cloud? It's using APIs? What is using Barclay? How it appears? Then I am not ready for that. Then I have to say, please stop first. I am not going to start any project with that. I need to understand what is this application and to put first in my C4E how we will establish which is our proceeding for this application. Later we can decide how we will start the project. But first I need this analysis of this application, okay? And I think that this is the C4E. It's listening. The customer have time dedicated. Maybe in the roadmap, okay, 1 year ago when this application was going to shown in the landscape of the customer, we will be able to start to evaluate that. Not now that they want to do the project in 1 month, and maybe they want to go live in 2, and say, no, we cannot do that. We cannot go directly with this application without understand that. I think that it is the clear point between the C4E and the COE.
Some very interesting facts you brought up here. One, they're not mutually exclusive. You know, you could have a COE complementing a C4E, and you can absolutely make it work together. Both are, you know, separate functions, but could be complementary. Something interesting you said is it's very important to listen. You know, especially when you have a COE, it's very important to listen to your customers. And this brings me on nicely to the role of empathy. You know, in establishing a C4E. So do you think that that skill of listening and empathy is key in making your C4E successful, and how have you used it? Maybe give us an example.
It is clearly necessary, okay? C4E at the end is at the service of the project. Then if you are not listening what they need, maybe they will decide don't take care of you. Okay, you are there, C4E is there to provide and to help the projects, to provide solutions and to help the projects, okay? Then they have to feel that really you are helping them. And how you will get that is you are not listening what they need. Then, for example, it recently one customer, and it was involved a bit, okay? The project was saying, oh yeah, I know we have developers that are publishing APIs, but we have a lot of APIs that are very simple because it's just system APIs. It's just I don't know how to say, a copy of a microservice that we already have in the backend. Then really don't need too much evaluation. Just we need to publish these ones. But we cannot do, and every time we need to go to the COE to request resources to do this publish of APIs. Then it is hard for us, and all the projects always are included because we are working in Agile, okay, in the sprints, and when this COE will be able to do that, no? Then we were listening that in our COE, and we say, okay, maybe it's something that don't need to be done for the COE, don't need to be done for the programmers. It's something that we can provide a tool to the projects and to the business people, and then immediately can publish the APIs. But how we will do? Because they don't know anything about MuleSoft, okay? And in this case, we had a solution that was in a private cloud, not in the public cloud. And how we can provide this to them. And then I think that I will let David to explain the solution, but it was really, really good. And it was an example of listening, really.
Yeah, basically, what we build is from the very beginning a C4E team where we are listening to the teams. We are involved from the very beginning of every single project is racing into the ecosystem when integration is involved. So we are providing the guidelines to the team to develop their own services. So we provided a tool, which is an automation tool to develop the services without any need of having MuleSoft experience, because this is a simple web service when they are providing the details for the integration, and then it's automatically deployed and going into the development environment, and later on we will promote between environments. Okay, that's the solution. But the key point here is not the solution, the technical solution that we are providing is not the automation tool, because at the end the automation tool, whoever with experience in MuleSoft can provide an automation tool, because every one of us knows how to publish APIs. But the key point is just involving all the teams and convince them that, okay, you have a need, okay, you need to fulfill this need by using the API manager, because this is a must in the client and it makes sense to have this. But the best way for you is just to trust in me, just to tell me which is your solution. I will provide you my point of view. We can discuss later on in which is the way of working, and I will providing you the necessary tools in order to provide the solution by yourself. I'm not providing the final solution. You are providing the solution, so I can have the experience. I will provide my experience to you, but you will be delivering at the end the project. So you will be happy because you are providing the project. I will be happy because the project is following the guidelines that we are providing, and we are listening to every single input from the client. But at the end, this is only possible if we are getting the input from the very beginning of the project, as Laura mentioned before.
That's key, and looks like that's a key part of your strategy to help your customers as well, right? So understand, help them, and essentially help them be self-sufficient, because that's what you want in the long run. You don't want the dependency on a small set of people. It's to enable, the business lines to actually be more independent and go more self-reliant, and finally be able to do their own thing, like in this case, publish their own APIs, which is fantastic. And how do you think you've used your strategy to change mindsets around organization? How have you managed to bring about that organizational change?
This is a hard question, because you know that companies or enterprises are not really new in integration. So everyone has a background in integration. So the ecosystems are currently working, and no one wants to lose the features that are currently working, and we have to minimize the risk. So what we are usually doing is just involving the COE as an expertise team in the very early stages of the project. So we are delivering an MVP solution. We are delivering the first APIs. We are delivering the guidelines to develop. We are delivering the monitoring, the CI/CD. We are delivering at the very first moment the initial tools for everyone who needs to be developing new services. And later on, then we can start with the iterative process in order to discover new projects that are arriving to us. And this is an important topic. We need to be sure that we are receiving this input directly from the client. We need to be sure that the client is trusting in us when they are taking care of new integration. So, okay, guys, here you have a new integration. Please give the guidelines to our team of blah, blah, blah backend in order to integrate with you. So we are getting this kind of information, and later on with this kind of information, we are discussing directly with the teams the way they want or they can to improve in the way of working and to deliver by their own their services. For sure, it's impossible if we are not providing in the very first moment the MVP solution. So it's needed to have something in the environment, and it's needed to be very clear with the client that this is a solution that needs to be iterative, that requires to work in the solution in this way. So we will need to improve in the solution and to grow around the solution. So this is only the beginning. This is the starting point of the solution. Everyone needs to join this way of working, because otherwise it will be a mess if everyone is working in their own way. So we need to be involved from the very beginning. Everyone is developing new services, but at the end, it's also important to involve directly with all the business partners around the ecosystems, because it's not only taking care about the client, it's taking care about everyone. So if you are joining with another company, if you are interchanging messages, you are performing integrations, you need the collaboration from everyone in order to grow with the system.
So you defined some of the challenges, that come with establishing a C4E, like getting alignment. So Laura, any more challenges that you can highlight that you have seen in your experience in setting up C4E, and what are the most common failure points, that people should be aware of and try and avoid upfront?
Yeah, for example, is that this starting point will be converted in a continuous point. It's not that, okay? C4E is for the starting point. Then we need to leave. We need to leave to the projects to continue. Yeah, but as David said, we need to ensure that they will continue following the guidelines. Okay, then we have to do some controls. Okay, we will put tools in place, because if a new project has to start, that it will be automatically reset in our C4E. A new project is going to start. We have to mobilize the project, that they understand all, and then to get the team with the sense that they are part of it. Okay, all the people that is working with integration for the project, not for the C4E. They could be COE or directly of the project. The people that is there needs to feel that they are part of it. Okay, they know how the things have to be done. They know which is our soul. Okay, how we feel that integration, what means to do an integration. All the relations that David said are very important. Yeah. Then, if you are growing too quick, if you are growing with your workforce too quick, with a lot of people that you are not trying to introduce and train correctly of how the integration has to be, or what an integration means, is one of the reasons of failure. At the end, everybody will do the things in a different way. Also, you provide assets to them. Yeah, it's not just a topic of provide assets or guidelines. It's a topic that they feel that they want to use that, and they understand why you are using that, and they really think that they need that. Okay, and why it is. And then other typical reason of failure is that you get a confusion between the C4E and the COE. Okay, C4E is a C4E. It means it's as I said at the beginning, you cannot do all, because if you try to do all, the others will feel that you are trying to take all the cake. No, but I am a project. What I will do is done by you. No, which is my part here? Then no, you are a C4E. They will do the project. They will manage the project. They will deliver. They will manage the resources of the project. You are trying to help, only that. Yeah. Then other reason of failure, it's I don't know. It's don't be ready. Don't be ready for the projects. Then it's as I said as example before. Yeah, you have a surprise of a new application. The application world is changing continuously. There are a lot of new cloud solutions for very small business units. I don't know, if you go to the market and you try to find an application that will be for one small piece of your logistic, it means how to count how to calculate the price. Then how many pricing solutions you have in the market? A lot of ones. Okay, then you want to integrate with the price solution. Sure, you need to do that. Yeah, but I know how to integrate with all the price solutions that are in the market, which are the ones that my customer is interested or is evaluating. Then I need to dedicate time for that. If I am not dedicating time for that, it will be a reason of failure, because at the moment that they will ask to me for support, I won't be able to respond to them. How I can help to you is I don't know what you need. Okay, then and if they lose the confidence, which is one important, very, very important point. To get a customer that is confident with you takes a lot of effort. Okay, when you get this confident, you are really happy, you are working well, but this confidence can be lost just in 1 minute. Okay, you can lose the confidence of the project, the confidence of the customer very quick. Okay, it takes a lot of time to win it, and David can say, as a C4E, it takes a lot of time to say, we are here, please be trusted in us, we are here to help. And when you win that, you have to save it as a treasure, okay? And you have to take care of it. You have to dedicate time of it. don't lose it, because lose it is very quick. It's just 1 minute, and it's one of the reasons of failure. Okay, lose this trust from the customer, and to avoid that, you have to be ready for them. You have to think what they will need in the future, not what they are needing now, what they needed in the past, and think that all is changing. Yeah, for example, the other day. It was another customer, it's not MuleSoft, okay? It's not with a C4E in that case, but they say, we have to start a new project. They asked to me for resources, and we have to start a new project. And I know that 20 years ago, you were preparing how to integrate with SAP systems, okay? And we want to integrate logistics, then I think that if you can provide to us what you are asking me, that I did 20 years ago, do you think that it's useful now? No. Okay, change your mind. It's not the same SAP system. Now you have a S4HANA system. Check which is the standard for S4HANA. It's different of the one that I prepared with a ECC, I don't know, 3.1 that it was. What you are asking me now? You are hurried, you have to deliver in 2 months. Yeah, it's okay. You said that you will go to UIT in July and you are starting now that is April and you have to do, I don't know, 200 integrations. No, I'm sorry. I cannot support that. Okay? Then it is happening in the reality. It's not I don't know what terror history is not dark history. No, it's a reality. It's happened, okay? And you have to talk to the people and say, no, you cannot do that. Because if you accept to do that, you will do it bad. And at the end, you are doing things that are in the past. And it's not the best solution. As it is not the best solution, it will generate problems in the project in the future. Then be sure that you are accepting to do. Then if they want to do that, okay, they will do, but not as part of my team. I am a C4E for customers, but I am a C4E for Accenture too. Okay, I am responsible of all API and integration projects that we are doing. Then if something is asking to me support, I am thinking as a C4E for Accenture too. Yeah. Then I will provide to them the tools, the guidelines, the directions, my recommendations, but I am not going to accept to do things that I don't think so that are good.
Okay, some interesting points you made there. So what I heard was a C4E cannot do it all. So don't take it all, think of a scalable model where you are delegating to projects, you're enabling projects and you're making them self-sufficient rather than focus on delivering everything yourself. Because that is the key differentiator of a C4E versus COE. Credibility is something that you talked about, gaining that customer confidence, credibility. It takes a long time. And the way to keep it up is keep your practices and best practices up to date. Try and educate your stakeholders, like you said, say no, educate them, tell them why it's not a good practice to do what they are asking you to do, because they might be thinking of something that worked 10 years ago and it maybe just doesn't work now, or you have a better way of doing it. So very interesting points there, Laura. Thanks for talking about it. David, listening to all of those problems, how do you think empathy can help us avoid some of these, problem areas that Laura pointed out?
Listening everyone. We need to start to listen not only the client, but also other stakeholders. We need to put ourselves in their positions. We need to think not only in the integration, but also in the needs that they have. And we need to try to collaborate with them, from their point of view. Yeah, we are C4E, we are enabling projects, we are collaborating with the projects, but we are not allowed to forget that, or we do not need to forget that they have their own requirements and they need to fulfill the timelines with their projects. So we need to support and we need to understand which are the reasons that they are arguing in order to request to do that type of work in this way. So we need to listen, we need to empathize in that sense with everyone. So if someone is requesting something that we think that it's simply impossible or outdated or whatever, we need to think in why are you asking this? Why are you trying to work in this way? Because maybe the problem is not because of they are in a hurry. Maybe this is because they do not know another type of solution. Maybe this is because this is the team that they have, maybe some other reasons. So we need to think in not only from our position, but also from their position, and try to make them arrive into a good ending in everything they are building. So we need to convince them, and the best way to convince someone is at the end knowing what they are thinking, because I cannot convince you if I do not know exactly what is your motivation to perform something.
Yeah, that's well said. All of us, I think, fall into the trap of asking for a solution rather than stating a problem. And I think good consultants and good architects are people who ask, what is the problem you're trying to solve, rather than, implementing the solution that they're being asked to implement. And that's the way to get to the actual, delivering what the stakeholders want, but obviously delivering it the right way. Very interesting conversation. Any final words or key takeaways for our audience? And then I would, open it up to the audience. If you have any questions, maybe put it on the chat, and then we can, carry on with those questions with Laura and David. And by the time you're thinking of your questions and putting it in, let's start with David. Any final takeaways, or tips for the audience?
Nothing really, I think, that we need to add. I don't know if Laura wants to add something, but I think that we have spoken about everything that we also discussed previously, and the intention of the meeting, I think that it's already covered.
I have some messages that always I provide to the people that is joining my team, okay? And it's part of the conversations that sometimes I have with them, not just new joiners, maybe people that is working with me long time, or because we are in a reality that we need a lot of conversation between us. Then, for example, one of the messages is that you are in integration, then you are in the center, something that we already said, okay? We not communicate messages, we communicate people. Then sure that someone will call you and will ask to you what is happening, why I am not receiving the delivery note, or why it's failing the report of these statistics. And you have to think that this person is a user that is trying to use an application, or is responsible of one application that is having an issue, and maybe he don't know what else to do. Okay, and the problem maybe is not in the integration, but you can talk with him, you can explain to him where could be the problem, because you are the unique person that maybe has the clue. Then you can see in your log that really has been received the request. It has been communicated successfully to the system that it will have to go, and maybe you can say to this person that is calling to you, please, you can talk with this other, because until here it has been successful, but from here I am not seeing anything else. Then please contact with this person and to try to solve. Then so have always in your mind that behind the integration there are people, okay, and these people will require always your support, okay. Other topic that I am normally saying is do the things easy, okay. If you are doing the things complex, maybe you will have problems. I am not saying that something don't have to be complex. Maybe one integration could be especially complex to build, but it doesn't mean that it has to be complex, okay? Then you are not selling just the integration. That you are selling is the experience of the integration. Then it don't have to be a pain. Maybe the integration is complex, but you have to put all the tools, all the things behind the integration to get it easy at the moment of the execution and the follow-up. The another thing is that already David said a lot, that you have to know your customer and have to be ready for him. Then think always in your customer, think in what you want to provide to them, and that your work is really provide and solve the problem that they could have. and provide that they could need, no? Then what else?
There is another one from me. I can be your best friend or your worst enemy, and I will prefer to be your best friend. And this is something that I'm usually telling to all my counterparts, my stakeholders, because I can support you, I can try to understand you. And it's better for us if we can understand each other. It will be better than if we are discussing around the solutions because you are not trusting in my point of view and I'm not trusting in your experience.
Yeah, I remember one experience that we were with one customer with problems with one integration. One moment, all was failing. From one moment, all was failing. We were there, and customer was in our offices. All managers behind us saying, "You have to solve this. The integrations have to work." And we said, "But we didn't touch anything. It was working yesterday, and today when we arrived, nothing is working. But we didn't touch." And I was trying to check in the logs what has been changing, nothing. Then the people were saying, no, it is not a problem of it was Oracle database, it's not a problem in the Oracle database, we didn't touch anything to. And we said, we are not touching the integration. Then if we keep in that, at the end, we didn't find a solution because I don't touch anything, you don't touch anything, but it is not working. And we don't know why. Then part of my work at that moment was to say, okay, see, we have one execution that is at this date, at this time that was successful, one execution that is at this date, at this time that is failing. Then between these two dates and time, something has happened. In one system, we don't know where, but something has happened. Can we track everywhere in the customer applications what has changed in this period of time? And it was the key. It was the key. We identified that really nothing changed in the Oracle database, nothing changing in the interface, was a installation of a protection in the customer landscape, virus protection, okay, that was generating a firewall that was stopping the communication with Oracle database, and it was generating that the interface was failing. Really, if we didn't talk, if we didn't said, we are your best friend, we are trying to help, just trust me. Okay, something has happened. You are saying that nothing, I am saying that nothing, but something has happened in the system. Put everybody to see what has happened in this period of time. And with that, we solve the issue. We thought that maybe now at this moment we'll be yet fighting. I don't touch, you don't touch, no? Then it is not. And I think that one last point is that we are taking a lot of responsibility, okay? I think that as integration persons that are integrating systems and are integrating people, we are assuming a lot of responsibility. There are a lot of business consequences if an integration not work. And this sometimes you feel it, okay, because users are stressed or they are scared. Oh, what will happen if we cannot pay our salary of all the people of Europe because the integration is not working? I have lived that, okay, end of month, and the salary integration wasn't working. Then you need to solve that. Nah? But if you are taking the responsibility of do these things, ask for the power of solving it, okay? Then don't not only accept that responsibility, request the support, request the partnership support, request the customer support, request the user support, because you will need all of them. You cannot be alone. Okay, then it's one last point that I said is if you are taking the responsibility that you have to take, ask for the corresponding support of everybody.
Thank you very much, Laura and David, for sharing, your experiences and your real life, wisdom with us. I think I had a lot of takeaway from this. It was obviously, an eye opener on how important integration is in especially the world we live today. We already talked about integration being the heart of the digital transformation. we talked about C4E being, the key to enabling and unlocking and scaling integration programs within organizations, and the C4E really being that kickstart, but the project has to carry on, and the C4E team has to, expand and scale and keep up to date so that the project teams can carry on implementing and delivering their programs. And more importantly, we talked about how key it is to have empathy when you're running a C4E, empathy for the project teams. They have requirements, they have deadlines to meet, they are under pressure and they are looking to the C4E team for help. And that is where thinking about the users, about the project teams and their pain points and approaching the problem with empathy really helps that partnership and really helps us foster this relationship. So this has been an absolutely fantastic session. Thank you very much for talking to us and coming and sharing this. I would hand it back to Therese and see if there were any questions from the audience.
There are no questions for the time being, but if anyone would like to raise any, or you can come off mute if there's anything you'd like to talk about. If not, I know we're also at time, so I can wrap up the event. My doggy just come back, so apologies if there's barking. So just final call, any questions? Take that as a no. So again, thank you so much, Laura and David, for sharing those insights. I think a lot of there I can relate to so much, especially with, it's not just about the technology, your integration brings people together. Found that very much the case in my first integration project. I never quite realized you connect these teams and actually get them speaking. So again, thank you so much for sharing that. Just to wrap up in terms of what to do next. So again, if there's any feedback that you have or ideas what you would like to see next, topics, who should get involved, or maybe have ideas or customer examples they would like to mention. So please just get in touch. If you enjoyed it, post about it. I know this is the first meetup hosted by the Emea team, but just to reiterate, everyone is welcome, regardless where from the world you come from. And we're just really excited to start shaping how we want. But yeah, thank you all for joining so much.